Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Young here, and today I'm back in our Fortnite video. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys the very best settings to use in Fortnite, and I'm going to show you guys my settings that I use personally that I think are the best for aiming, building, and also editing. I'm going to show you guys the settings that I currently use that I think are the very best for those things. So if you guys are looking for some new settings or just want to see my recommendations for the best settings to use in Fortnite, definitely stay to the end of the video because these settings, in my opinion, are the very best to use, and I always recommend for you guys to give them a try. And real quick, before we get into the video, up on the screen I have the V-Buck giveaway winner of this week. I give away 2,000 V-Bucks every single Friday, so if you guys would like to enter the next giveaway and win free V-Bucks, all you guys have to do is to drop a like on this video. Make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys do turn on post notifications so you guys get notified for every single new video and when I announce the winners. And lastly, leave a comment down below of either your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account, and you guys will be automatically entered into the next giveaway. And lastly, make sure you guys do support me in the item shop. All you guys have to do is go down to the bottom right, click on support a creator, type in creator code YoungHumor, and you guys will have me added and supported as a creator in the item shop. And alright guys, let's get to the video. Alright, so in this video, like I said, I want to show you guys the best settings to use here in Fortnite Season 3. I'm going to show you guys the settings that I use and all the settings that I recommend that I think are the best in the game when it comes to building, editing, and also aiming. There's a couple changes that I make for a very specific reason, and I want to show you guys the changes that I make and exactly why I have them. So here, going into my settings, I want to show you guys everything that I have so you guys can see the colorblind setting that I have, which is on the last one, and I do have it on, I either have it on a 4 or a 7, and for those of you guys on console who don't have any other colorblind settings, I recommend having this one on and playing in between a 7 and a 10. I usually play on 4 because I have extra saturation based on my desktop. I'm able to have better colors because of the monitor that I have, so I would definitely give that colorblind setting a try to make your game look a little bit better. Now, as far as everything else, I have everything on off. If you guys play on console, obviously this won't make a difference. And now going into my game settings, I have the auto open door feature. You definitely want to make sure you have this on. I know a lot of you guys may already have this on, but definitely put it on if you guys don't already have it on, just because it really helps out a ton if you accidentally miss an edit on a wall and it makes a door. It won't slow your momentum down at all, so a very crucial setting. Make sure you have that on. I have the auto consumables to the right, and this is really important to have on if you play on controller, because say you land on a chest and someone else lands there right at the same time. If you open up the chest and you happen to just spam and you happen to get the weapon, what can happen is your gun is automatically going to go to the first slot, so you don't have to hit right bumper 4 times to pull it out. You can immediately pull out your assault rifle and you can shoot the other player. So you definitely want to have the auto consumables to the right on, because it makes it super easy off the spawn that you know your guns are going to be in that first slot. And then of course, after you get the elimination on the other player, then you can change it to however you like. And so the confirm edit on release, I have this setting on. I know you guys ask me all the time if I do or don't. I do have this setting on just because it helps, and sometimes it's just super annoying to hit confirm after every single edit. So I really like having this setting on, obviously for the fastest edits possible. I think most like the crazy fast editors do have it off because it is slightly faster off, but having it on is just so much more convenient, and I recommend having it on. So record replays, I have this setting off just because it kind of hurts your FPS a little bit because your game's constantly recording the gameplay, and I never really go back into the replays for anything, so I do have that off. And going into the HUD scale, I have mine on an 80%. If you think this is a little bit too low, you can play on an 80 to an 85%, both of those in which I do recommend. So going into my controller options and the sensitivities that I have, I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering exactly what I have. So the settings that I did change, I'm now on a 45% and a 44%. If you guys watched my aiming video, I think it was just a couple days ago, and I think this is the best X and Y sensitivity to aim with, and I tried it out and I really just fell in love with it. I think it was really good. Before I played on a 46 and a 46%, but I feel like with this sensitivity specifically, you're going to have the best aim you've ever had. It's very good. Highly recommend having a 45% and a 44%, and then my building and editing sensitivity is both on a 2.6. Before I was on a 2.5, so I do play in quite a high building and editing sensitivity. Of course, if you guys like a little bit lower, you think you're not able to control it, by all means put it down to maybe a 2.3 on both, maybe a 2.3 building and a 2.4 editing. Something like that would be a very good sensitivity to try out. But because of all the little Timmies that constantly spam you from third parties and all that kind of stuff in game, I do like having the high building and editing sensitivity. So I've always recommended to play on a high building and editing, but of course, if you're not able to control it, if you feel like you're too sloppy with your builds, you're constantly wasting mats, then I think it is better to play on a little bit lower sensitivity, have that extra control and being a little bit more precise with your builds, than playing on a high sensitivity, even though you're able to build faster and edit faster. If you're really sloppy with it, then it's just better to play on that lower sensitivity. But I feel like with the sensitivity that I have for the building and editing, I feel like I'm able to build very efficiently, very accurately, and it's not, for me at least, it's not too fast to the point where I'm accidentally placing a ton of materials. So this sensitivity is perfect for me, so I would recommend giving it a try. But as I said, if it is a little bit too high, you feel like you're a little bit sloppy with your builds, by all means definitely turn it down just a little bit. And the reason why I play it on a 45 and a 44% for my X and Y sensitivity is I think it's the best for controlling your shots. For me, I really do like having either the low to medium sensitivity when it comes to your X and Y sense, and the reason being is a lot of times, especially after before I used to play on a 48%, like I'm talking a couple months ago, but after all of these recent aim assist changes where they constantly nerfed aim assist, I feel like I needed to lower my sensitivity to have the control that I once had. And playing on a 45 and a 44%, I feel like I have most of my control back. Of course, aim assist isn't as good as before, but I feel like that the sensitivity that I have now really does the trick. The 45 and 44%, I feel like I'm very accurate, I'm very precise with my AR, shotgun, and SMG. And of course in creative, I don't know why they still don't have the charged shotgun yet. They should probably be adding it soon. But with the sensitivity that I have when it comes to all the weapons in the game, I feel like I'm very accurate with it. And of course, I forgot to mention, but if you guys don't already have vibration off, you definitely want to make sure you have that setting off, just because it adds a little bit of inconsistency and it can cause you to miss a couple of your shots. Most of you guys have it off, but if you don't, make sure you guys do have that setting off. Now, as far as my sensitivity, I play on a 12% and 11%. Now, this is a little bit higher than I usually play on, and the reason for it, which I'll go into in just a second, but there was a very specific reason in which I play on this sensitivity, just because a few days ago, I think it was about a week ago, they did buff when it came to the AR, or the aim assist. When it came to long range, they definitely gave it a little bit of a buff. And one thing that I noticed is when it came to close range tracking with my charged shotgun, one of the things that happened is when I was aiming down my sights with the charged shotgun, I wasn't able, it was just slightly too slow tracking from left to right, and that was only when I was aiming down my sights. And so what I did was I raised my sensitivity up to just a 12% and an 11%. I found this to be very, very good. Now, as far as the sensitivity, you can play, I recommend anything from a 9% to a 12%, both for the vertical speed and also the horizontal speed. And when it comes to the shotgun, specifically the charged shotgun, one thing you'll notice is when you're aiming down your sights, your reticle gets tighter, meaning you're gonna hit your shotgun shots. Your spread is gonna be a lot tighter, meaning you're gonna be hitting more damage. So that's why it was really important that I was able to have a fast enough sensitivity to be able to track with my shotgun at close ranges. So that's why I did raise my sensitivity up just a little bit. And right now, I do not plan on look damping time. I do recommend it if you guys feel like you're missing a couple of shots. I recommend anything from a 0.04 to a 0.08, maybe 0.10 at the highest. I recommend on anything in between there. As far as my dead zones, I play on 11%, a 10%, and then I have the foot controller setting off, and I have that off because it adds input delay. So those are pretty much all the sensitivities, or the new sensitivities that end up changing, and the ones I have now, and the specific reasons in which I have those sensitivities. And I also want to show you guys the binds that I have in case you guys were curious, but I do really like this new sensitivity as well because it's very good for building, editing, aiming, and that's really important when it comes to being able to track players with my shotgun at close range, because the charged shotgun does significantly more damage when you're able to, aim down your sights and hit all of your pellets. It can do a crazy amount of damage from range. So that's why I do have the sensitivities that I do. And then of course I have a little bit lower X and Y because I feel like I'm able to track players very easily, hip firing with my SMG and my charged shotgun as well. So going into my binds, in case you guys wanted to see what I have, I do play with 4 paddles, and the paddles that I have is my upper left paddle is my pickaxe, that's bound to the left on the D-pad. My upper right paddle is the edit button, that is bound to right on the D-pad. So upper left is pickaxe, my upper right is edit, and my bottom left is going to be the jump button, which is bound to A. and my bottom right paddle is bound to the B button, which is, you can see in the build controls, is going to be how I place my launch pads. So those are pretty much all the paddles and binds that I have for those. And then, my change material / strap, I have it down on the D-pad. So yeah, so these are just the binds that I currently have. And if you guys play with 4 paddles, then I would recommend the binds that I do have. But if you guys don't, if you guys play with non-claw or non-paddle, then I do recommend, so I do have a couple other videos that are really good. Just type in Young Humor non-paddle binds and you guys will find a really good video on the best binds to use if you guys don't play with any sort of paddles. And then for my edit controls, my confirm is on left trigger. I recommend that for everybody. I think it's a really good confirm button. My reset is going to be on right stick. I've seen a lot of people have the reset on right bumper, but I've been using right stick for the longest time and I have no issues with it, so I just continue to have it on the right stick. So these are all the binds that I have and that I recommend. I think all these settings are really good, and for you guys to at least give them a try, I think they are very good. And of course, when it comes to changing your sensitivity, I've always recommended changing it little by little, because if you change from like a 60% down to a 40%, it's going to be a lot harder to get used to the muscle memory. I usually just change a couple points at a time. So if you're going from like 50% maybe to like a 47 or 48%, and if maybe try that out for a little bit. If you don't like it, then you can move it down slowly by slowly. That way you're not having a crazy muscle memory gap where you're trying to just remember how fast everything is. So I always recommend lowering it little by little. But with that being said, that's wrap it up for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys liked it, make sure you guys do hit that like button. Make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching. Make sure you guys do hit that notification bell so you guys can get notified for every single new upload. And as well, I do live stream every single day here on this channel at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Definitely hit that notification bell so you guys get notified when I go live on this channel. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys watching the video, and I will see you guys in the next video.